Steve. Thank you, Bruno. My name is Seth Shapiro. I'm here from Los Angeles. I'm here to talk about a project that we announced about 2 months ago with FBG and Alphabet Fund in Singapore, and very happy to be back in Korea, in the country that we most want to partner with in this company. About me, I've been working in Hollywood and in New York in technology and media for about 25 years with most of the major networks, studios, and distributors. And about 3 years ago, I started working in the blockchain space with Alphabet Fund and VideoCoin and others. And we've spent a lot of time thinking about how to bring those two worlds together in a very meaningful way, and I think we've found it. We've been working on this project for about 2 years in stealth. Some background on the media business. It's about, media and advertising is about a $2 trillion a year business globally. It's actually a bit more. And one of the things that we see in the California economy relative to that is that it's really from this space that most of the famous companies have come from. The Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google companies really began about 15 years ago, 15 years ago. Obviously, Apple was there earlier than that, but that was sort of the period of the iPhone. And we think that we're going to see another period of these kind of companies again, and so we're very excited about that. And so to give you a little bit of historical context for how the media business has worked with technology, if you think about the way that the TV business began, TV was, again, one of these crazy technologies like blockchain that people were very skeptical about. They doubted it. They didn't think that it would necessarily take off. But then when it did take off, it became extremely powerful, transformed the world, and it had a very specific revenue model, which was advertising, and basically TV networks were in the business of delivering audiences to advertisers, and this worked for a while, but then people got sick of it a little bit. They wanted more choices, more content, and we had a new era of technology, which was cable and satellite, that came on and transformed that media business for the world, and entrepreneurs basically would wire countries, stringing cable to bring television to new areas or putting it up on satellites. And that's when we had birth of the next big era of television, which was cable, where all of the networks that we know now, CNN, ESPN, HBO, these all come out of this new period of new technology. And this works for a while really well, but then we have a new disruptive technology, which is the internet. And the internet comes along, and all of a sudden, there's a tremendous amount of video that's available online for free, often. And people get sick of paying a lot of money for cable television. And then we're in this third era, which we're still in now, of what we call over-the-top television, or VOD, where people have thousands of choices, and they can watch content anywhere, anytime, on any device, game consoles, etc. But yet, inside of the business, if you're inside of the business, there are still a ton of problems that affect everybody, affect the public, and affect the industry at large. First of all, the cost of producing content has come way down, so there's much, much more of it. And there's a lot of great content in the world that never finds its audience, because audiences are scattered. And the machine that used to deliver all of these things is fundamentally broken. The old mechanism of the TV business, which was the television, isn't really the thing anymore. That's why so many people are getting rid of pay television. And it's a fundamental problem for a number of segments of the industry, because the fundamental technology of the media and advertising business is broken. People who create content feel like they're not sure if they're getting paid enough. The accounting systems are very complicated, sort of Hollywood accounting. Advertisers get terribly ineffective data. There's a lot of click fraud on the digital side, and on the television side, the systems that deliver data are very, very old. Customers have constant fear because their data is getting stolen, many, many big hacks, and there are high prices, and they're subscribing to more and more services, so they're paying more and more. Studios live in terror of piracy and movies winding up on BitTorrent, and audiences are hit with a lot of fake content, and then sort of the same old content from the major studio groups. So what's the solution? And this is what we've been working on, so I'll play you a little bit of a video, and then we'll tell you more about it. Audio?
The media business is broken, and everybody knows it. Cable TV forces consumers to pay for hundreds of networks they'll never even watch. The average home pays for 206 networks and watches about 15 of them. Meanwhile, the costs just keep going up, even as viewers cut the cord in droves. The news model is even more broken. The same stories over and over, and never the ones you want to hear. No wonder the average news viewer is 68 years old. So what about online video? Well, we thought user-driven services like YouTube would solve the problem, but not so much. In fact, only 3% of YouTubers get paid above the poverty line. Meanwhile, piracy is rampant and censorship is growing as more and more YouTubers get their content pulled down. So, what's the solution? Alphanetworks is a team of experts for media, technology, and blockchain. We're taking the best aspects of the media business, great programming and new voices, and rebuilding them on the blockchain. Real stories, fair economics, and increased transparency. We're building the future of media with the best partners, including IBM Cloud Video, Watson AI, and Radical Media, with more on the way. Together with leading blockchain economists and game theory experts, Alphanetworks has developed a token economy based on how the media industry really works. The Alphanetworks ecosystem involves three primary actors: viewers, creators, and advertisers. Viewers buy tokens to get access to content and products. Every video view is recorded to the blockchain and analyzed by Watson AI. Content creators are paid proportionally based on the views they've delivered, giving them more funding to create more of the content that viewers really want. Meanwhile, advertisers buy tokens to place ads targeted to the specific audience that's right for them, as determined by our APIs and Watson AI. Built with leading user interface experts and game designers, the Alphanetworks experience is the first media service to offer rewards and bounties to specific viewers. We even pay you to watch ads.
Welcome to the School of Block. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency. It's pseudo-anonymous.
Hi, I'm Michael Turpin, and this is Token Talk.
The beauty is it's by taking all the technology we developed in Opskins and injecting it into a smart contract, it means that anyone can run their own eBay.
And unlike every other world-class video service, this one is powered by a token.
So this is your mirror thing. I feel like you have a secret from another realm.
That sounds exactly like what blockchain's good at.
The world has changed. It's time to change the way that media is created and distributed. Alphanetworks, the future of media on the blockchain.
So we've spent about 2 years looking at the economy of creating a new sort of media service, and there are all sorts of efficiencies that get unlocked when you actually add blockchain and a token economy to a media service. You can have dynamic pricing. You can price differently based on what your AI tells you about what that market will bear. A lot of services launch, and if they're credit card based, to the point that the gentleman made earlier, they can be very inefficient. Maybe you have to charge something, you have to charge $10 US for something that really the effective price ought to be $1.27, because we control the token, we can do that. So the three major terms here are the blockchain aspect, OTT we talked about, and the AI. So let's talk a little bit about this. Before we do that, actually, let me go to this about OTT. So this is sort of the power, as I talked before, about how media is always transformed by technology. That's when these multi-billion-dollar companies happen. In 2008, the Walt Disney Company was worth about $48 billion. This little company that a lot of people didn't believe in called Netflix was worth about $1.6 billion. Today, Netflix is worth more than the Walt Disney Company. Let that sink in. So that's the transformational power of technology in a new business model in media. So without going into too much detail, our proof actually, for the first time, writes every video view and every interaction with content by every viewer to a blockchain, and then it compensates all of the creators of that content based on how much of their content was actually used. It also, in kind of a philosophically appropriate way for blockchain, shares that information with all the content creators, so it creates a network effect. So we have partners that create content for Netflix, but they get very little data back for most of these services. The distributors often don't give data back to creators because they're afraid the data is going to get used to get more money out of the distributors. We want to give the data back to the creators because we want them to create more views. It's a network effect and does well for all of the other parts of our signal chain. So essentially, we can give this out to anybody who wants it. We replace all of those areas of the media business that are broken with new mechanisms based on this technology. We study the user behavior of this new generation, which is global, and we build the service for them along the lines of all the ways that they want to consume content. We make it better for advertisers. We make it better for areas like music. I'll actually be back in about 3 weeks to speak at MUCON in Korea, and we'll talk more about that. And better for new emerging areas such as esports. We have a number of revenue streams that we add to the traditional media business because we're powered by a token and because we're on the blockchain. A little bit about our partnership with IBM, which we'll be talking more about in the coming weeks. IBM has an extremely powerful video platform. It's what drives HBO in Scandinavia and other places in the world. And they approached us about 2 years ago and said that in confidence they were going to be putting their video technology and their AI groups together, and they wanted to develop a really innovative project. And that's the way that this started. And we started to look at combining AI, blockchain, and video, which is going to be a very, very interesting process, very powerful platform. This is a little bit about IBM's application of AI to Watson. So I'll show you a little video that comes from our friends at Fox Sports and how they actually just applied AI to football. Audio? So basically what FIFA and our friends at Fox in LA did was they fed the historical database of football games into Watson and taught Watson how to understand football. We're doing that with the same team in a number of other areas that we'll be talking about more. But one of them, interestingly, with this group is teaching Watson to understand crypto, understand coin offerings, which will be a big part of our content. So, as I said, we announced about 2 months ago with FBG and Alphabet Fund, and Rich and Andrew are here from Alphabet today. We've been gratified to have a number of great companies come in as early investors. IBM, obviously, are very involved in the product. Little bit about our team. So most of these services often rise or fall based on the content. Radical Media, we think, is the greatest production company in the world. They are the #1 producer of high-quality commercials from B&W and Nike to custom content for branded content from Grey Goose, about 7 different shows on Netflix, just an extraordinary partner, so we're really happy to have them. David Moss, you may know, he's best known for launching both the testnet and the mainnet for EOS recently. Jay Samit was the #3 at Sony globally. He's well known for negotiating with Steve Jobs on behalf of the music business. Dee, who's here with me today, has worked with every major studio. So is Gregory, who was here with me in Korea last time. He's worked on about 250 movies. John Matta actually launched 2 broadcast networks in the United States. And Mark was very involved in the launch of the first U.S. network to go online, which was the ABC streaming player. Very thick deck of advisors helping us with new content that we'll be talking about. Jack is Adam Sandler's business partner. Phil is an agent to a number of major influencers. Tom is the head of loyalty at Marriott, so very, very bright in terms of loyalty points and so forth. Enzo is with the NASDAQ, etc. So the last thing that I guess I'll cover is the content. We'll be coming back again in a few weeks, as I said, to talk more about the launch content, but we think there's an enormous opportunity in creating authoritative, great content around the community that we're in. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube that's not necessarily so good, so we want to work with leading influencers and content creators on stuff like that. We also want to take great Asian content and bring it to the Western market and vice versa, and clearly we want to do stuff with esports. But I guess The major thing that I want to say is the reason that we're here in Seoul is when we actually started the company, we talked about this a lot. Seoul is an extraordinarily creative community. Everybody in the Hollywood TV business who knows what they're doing really has tremendous respect for the TV industry in Seoul. The content is excellent, it's well produced, it's professionally produced. The design community here is amazing. The technology community is amazing. So we really want to develop thick partnerships here and be here a lot and develop joint ventures. So we'd love to talk to any of you who are interested in that. And we'd really like to work in that regard to set up what we're calling Alphanetworks Asia and create sort of a global East-West media platform for the future. This is the Asian century, and we really want to see a lot more of the great Asian content also make it back to the West, and we'd love to work with you on that. And again, thanks to Steve and Bruno. I hope to be here a lot more often. Thank you very much.